So, come have a seat, Jesse. We have Pat Bohlender. She's going to be running for Randall County, Potter County chairman.
Just Randall County.
What did I say?
Potter.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm so
Dan
sorry.
will be a little upset.
Randall County. My apologies. So, as we always start off, Alex Deanna with Conservatism of Texas. And also, we hybrid these podcasts with our respective precincts. So we're representing Precinct 1 on this broadcast. We have Kent Powell. He's over the 123. I'm over the 111. Travis Hayes, 110. And in the spring, hopefully, Jesse Bremer is the interim now for the 114, but hopefully we'll get him installed in the spring sometime. And Pat Bohlender, you were a precinct chair for which area?
332.
332.
Right.
How did you get involved with the Republican Party?
Well, I moved down here from Colorado, and in Colorado, I became, since I was retired, I felt I needed to pay back to the community because when I was in the midst of my career, I didn't have time to volunteer to do anything, really.
Yes,
My kids and my career, and my late husband, he was a veterinarian, and so we were very involved in our own little world. And so once I became retired, I figured out numerous ways to be involved. And so when I moved down here, I already knew church, and I already knew which church I was going to because my son, I went with him when I would come down and visit. So I already knew church, and I called the only number that I could find. I also had some help in Colorado because the president of the Colorado Federation of Republican Women was from Texas.
Okay.
So she had a contact down here, and so she told me that there's a Republican women's group called High Plains Republican Women. And so I wanted to get in touch with that and become a member of that and the county, because to me, those are the two. I didn't know at the time about the other women's group. And so I was here probably about 3 weeks, and I called and
dove right in,
and Jesse was in that office volunteering, and Tim Rubel was the county chair at that time. And so I just jumped in, and there was a gentleman that was already precinct chair, because at that time I was still 325.
Sure.
And they hadn't done the line switch. And so, but anyway, that's how I became involved. And I just brought some ideas that I'm into marketing a lot on how to do things that make a difference in that. And so I just shared some ideas and got involved, and here I am.
And she's very precise on how she does things. I will say, I remember we had an event there called I held out of my precinct at the headquarters. It was a Betho watch party, and not to watch him, it was to watch him get his clock cleaned by our governor, of course, Greg Abbott. And you handled that very well as to how you organized that, and we worked together. Boy, she put me through the ringer a few times. She said, "Now, Alex, we need to be very clear." And I said, "Yes, ma'am. You are right." And she sure was. We had a very good turnout for that. I mean, I think we had about maybe right at about 112, 115 people. It was great.
Yeah, it was.
And what is your opinion on, what are some of your goals as to getting the precincts more stimulated in their respective precincts? Do you have any goals and things that you want to present?
Yeah, and already doing one thing, because when I was vice chair, I had volunteered, because I feel that precinct chairs are the most important thing to the county chair, because they are who we are working with. And each one of our precincts has approximately 5,000 people in it. It's impossible for one person to do that. So in my mind, how we're breaking it down is we will have approximately 5 to 7 precinct team captains.
Mhm.
So I would title them TC1, TC2, TC3, so on down the line. And those, it's our team effort, as me as the precinct chair with TC1, to go with them and try to find at least 10 people
Sure.
in that. And then bring them to a meeting, potluck, social, fellowship type thing, and explain to them that we have got to spread the word about voting and who to vote for, and take it as a small family. And
Yeah.
then the team captain too, same thing.
Right.
And do break it up into small chunks, and then those small chunks will bleed out because they will tell their neighbor who might also be a Republican, excuse me, my eyes watering, that here's our information source. When elections come about, we will get an email saying, go to randallcounty.gov and pull up your sample ballot and see where the voting sites are, see when early voting starts, see when the last day of voting is, and make sure your team can help other people get out to vote. And we want to, if they ask us who we're voting for,
Sure.
that's fine, but we cannot tell them who to vote for, because that would not be a republic.
Sure. Sure.
That would then be a democracy,
Yes.
which we do not want to do. But if we, as precinct chairs, which I think we will, get into knowing who is running, and sit down with them, and even these interviews help, because it helps people outside that don't have the opportunity to come in to meet, kind of get a gist of who people are. And so it's a great thing to do these podcasts and get them out there in the precincts. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just to let you know, we would love to help in that effort to show everyone that it's really a lot easier than it seems.
Yeah.
I've already spoke with Dana Myers, and we're going to work on a project to show her the efficacy of these measures. And so I know that you've always loved those types of things, and so we'd be willing to do that with you, of course. You already had a project already with the Lincoln Reagan dinner. Tell us a little bit how that went.
Yes. My compliments.
Thank you.
Very good.
Thank you. Yeah, I am a detail person, and it's a God-given gift. I can't say. I have a master's in curriculum development and classroom management, and another master's in administration.
Mm-hmm.
So all of that combined together probably has helped me, but I still credit God that He's given me these abilities. And right now, He's given me the health, because a lot of people that are 75 really don't have the energy nor the desire to take on something like this. And I'm questioning myself why I'm doing this, but but I do have the energy, and I do think I have the expertise and the time, because I moved down here to help my son and my little grandson. He needed speech therapy. And so for 3 years, I took him to speech therapy. He's got perfect speech now. And so that task is done.
Sure.
But my other kids in Colorado kind of thought maybe I would be coming back, but it's too much trouble to move. It's way too much. And so they've got the older grandkids. They can come down and visit and do that. And so I'm staying.
Yeah, we're glad you are. So what were some of the healthy challenges in this Lincoln Reagan dinner, and how did you persevere through them, if any? I mean, there may not have been any, but tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, there were a few challenges. It was probably the biggest one was the sound and lighting. It was one group went off and kind of did a little business deal with them, and then it came back at $15,500. I thought that was exorbitant, and so I was working on the program with Scott Latham, and I asked him if we could do it a little cheaper, and so it came out that we saved $8,500.
That's quite a bit.
And so anyway, it was a little bit of a ruckus, but there were several little bumps in the road along the way. But if you just call them bumps in the road and you don't let them get exploded, you're okay.
Sure, you hit it before it gets big.
Yeah.
So what was it that you're naturally a conservative, so you were going to fiscally be responsible in the amount that you were spending just naturally. So you spotted that just right off the bat. Sure.
Yeah, I did.
It took you all 30 seconds going, wait a minute, can we do this a little more efficiently, a little bit better? So, I want to give these guys some time to ask some questions as well. Do you have anything?
Yeah, I was going to ask about, in my association with the party these few years, I've noticed a sort of a weakness in the handling of the meetings themselves. How do you feel about your qualifications for controlling out of control precinct chairs?
Well,
what's your methodology of getting them to calm down and listen to the focus of where we're going?
I hope that things are more agenda driven, and the public can have a copy of the agenda, because it's not just for us, since we are an open meeting.
Great.
People can see, and if they want to have input on a particular thing, then they can see when it's coming up, and we go right down the way. 2 weeks out is too far for me to send out a proper agenda, because I have to have feedback from all of the precinct chairs. If they have an issue, realize, our meeting's coming up and I want to make sure I get to ask thus and such. But all of the precinct chairs that actually are what you really do need. If you need something, pull together a team to help you to get you whatever it is, whatever's going on.
Yeah.
I'm kind of just the pinpoint person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The way I've described it in some facets, I did it last night on our podcast. Kind of like the referee, you just got to make sure the rules are being followed. Hey, that's out of bounds. That's in bounds. Hey, that's a field goal. That's a touchdown. When you start having too many closed discussions, the whole reason that we're precinct chairs is because we have constituents in our precinct. There is no representation. There's no taxation without representation, so we have to represent our constituents and get them.
And I see myself as needing to be out gleaning information from our county. Like, I need to attend the commissioners' meetings.
Yes. Right.
And if there's something that all of us can do, I will bring one of them. I just need one a month to come and kind of give us an overview. Mm-hmm. Can we help in any way? Or is there an issue that we need to help publicize or get within our little team captain groups and help in some way? But I see this position as being kind of the access to other things to bring to us, because I'm not the one that has to have all the ideas but I'm the one that has to go out into the community and represent you and bring back to us. Here's how we can be involved in this. Here's what's going on there. And so that's also why I belong to all of the Republican groups, because they all bring in speakers and that what's going on. And right now it's a nightmare to try to keep up with what's going on in Washington D.C. on the border and all that. So I kind of stepped back and thought, okay,
for sure.
This is way a lot, but we do have to. That's why the Republican Party is so important, because of it. And so,
good answer. I'm gonna hold on to that one, because I'm gonna make sure that she's on her good. Kent, go ahead and ask if you have a question. And while you're doing that, come right.
I had a question formulated that has kind of been covered from going as county stand be more to announce decisions to or take a consensus from the deal. And you kind of answered that going,
Yeah.
it needs to come from the precinct chairs and the people rather than passed down from the top. So,
Absolutely. Yeah. Because like I said, I am not the controller. I am just, I want to help feed information. I don't, no, I am not, you do this, you do that type person at all. Yeah. But here's an idea.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sure.
here's an idea.
Yeah.
But this isn't what we're going to do. We're going to vote on it. We'll make that decision. Well, my question was with regards to you were making the comment about we've had these other offices. You're talking about the commissioner court itself, but we also have our state representative.
Yes.
So we don't normally see our state representative come to Republican Party meetings that are Republican Party meetings in Randall County. We don't really bring our state representative so that we even know who that person is. Would you be inclined to try to encourage them to be a little bit more accommodating to the precincts here in Randall County and possibly to the other 6 counties that they represent, and try to bring them into our conversation with what we're trying to do as Republicans in this part of the state?
Yep. Absolutely.
So, I know that High Plains Republican women and Emerald Republican women, they bring these speakers down from Austin and whatnot. You think we'll kind of start seeing more of that at our headquarters? I'm guessing. Is that kind of what you're getting at?
That's what I'm
Jesse?
getting at.
I am actually thinking that we will need to start our meetings at least at 6:30
Mhm.
Yeah.
and have content, since we just meet once a month,
Sure.
and have speakers and have reports from the county commissioners
Sure.
and even the judges and stuff. If I have found their reports when I go to the other meetings, how this fentanyl is
Yeah.
affecting our community here, and there's enough fentanyl in Amarillo to kill off the whole state of Texas. That was startling to me.
Yeah.
I mean, I just never have dreamed that we had that much of it up here.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine what it's like down there close to the border. Yeah. So that's just crazy, Bill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is.
Mhm.
Travis, you have anything?
Yes, yes, thank you, Alex. I've got a rather lengthy first question, then I have a follow-up question.
Okay.
You're running as a representative of the Republican Party. As such, I'm sure you're aware of the social media and the TV reports about the Republican Party and what I would perceive as a schism in the party. Do you think this locally, as a local county government, that our concern about that should extend beyond our local party? Do you think that schism does exist, and what would be your plans for possibly helping improve that?
Now, tell me again the schism. What is it?
Do you believe there's a schism in the Republican Party?
Oh, gosh. There most likely is, yes. I would, I don't know how to address that really, because it's their biblical beliefs, and they kind of stand back and think everything's okay, and then boom, Satan can jump right in there and make some people have some bad choices,
Right.
in my book. And so I just think we have to stay on track. I don't like to take energy to do negative things because it drains me. And but if it came to the point that it would impact us greatly here in Randall County, yeah, I'd take the energy to get it straightened out, bring it to a head, bring it to a conversation, get it taken care of. I hope. I'd hope.
Your answer kind of segues into my second question. When we consider candidates, to me we have a circumstance that I don't know how we should deal with it, because I feel like candidate could say, I'm filing with the Republican Party. The Republican Party has a platform. And that candidate could say, I'm all in on that platform, or why am I filing in the Republican Party? Can you kind of elaborate on what your thoughts are about that?
Um, individuals, I can't speak for them, but I did create that little push card, if you would, that gave the definition of the Texas party, because we are an affiliate directly under the Texas Republican Party. And so that's where our whole bylaws and everything else are constructed, is from that. And so we can't get too far away from that. If people want to apply, speech is cheap in a sense, but they really do need to understand and read what our platform is and what we stand for, and do that. It's not probably my responsibility to judge people. If they say they're a Republican and they vote Republican, and they come to us wanting to volunteer, I guess it would be yours and my responsibility to help keep them on track as to
Sure.
what our platform is. And
Do you think it's appropriate to censor a candidate for their promises? And as a party, do we have a responsibility to censor them if they're just not even following that platform?
how are you going to censor something?
I'm asking you that.
I guess, are you getting at,
Duct tape?
are you getting some type of like the Dave Phelan situation, or is that what you're kind of remarking?
Exactly.
Something
Yes,
to that?
yes.
Huh. Well, myself as an individual, here again, I hate to, I'm not a dictator, and I'm not going to take it on by myself. It would have to be as some kind of a group, and that person in presence saying, with, why are you going this direction?
Sure.
Because I'm not into talking behind people's back and doing mess like that. That's totally unethical to me. Yeah. And so
I have to ask you, there is a bit of an elephant in the room. I know we're outside, but
a big elephant.
Yeah, and you don't have to answer it. I'm not gonna. If you don't feel comfortable answering it, it's okay. Our previous chair was just elected, and he's already has 2 challengers. I have my thoughts. I'm not going to discuss them here, but that seems really soon. What was it that you felt, if you want to speak on it? We want to keep everything positive, of course. If you feel comfortable without going down a certain trail, I'm just curious, because that's pretty fast. It's pretty quick. And if you want to speak,
I'll tell you. Here again, part of the platform that I'm running on is that I'm retired and I have time.
Sure.
And I enjoy giving time.
Sure.
If I had a full-time job as a rancher, and I had to take care of cattle in the morning and cattle in the afternoon, and that doesn't leave much time in the day to do. And that's where I'm seeing that we need the office open. We need the chairperson there
Yeah.
at least 4 or 5 hours
Yeah.
a day, you know, eh, eh, because that's what we take this on as is it's a volunteer, but that's why I've got some time.
Yeah.
And I'll do that.
Yeah.
And so
Yeah, I think that's terrific.
10 to 5 on
Mhm.
Mondays,
Mhm.
just as a volunteer. But, and it worked out perfect because I took Macklin to speech at WT downtown and then took him on to Claude to school and back and just got there by 10.
Well, I know
And
you love it. I know you really care for, the constituents and the republic for which it stands up. I mean, I've known you for 2 years now, and I know you love it.
yeah,
Um,
actually 3.
3 years.
Right.
So,
She's been 3 years.
Yeah.
There's a lot of water on the bridge here.
what are some plans that you may have to roll out an understanding to Amarillo? We have 2 counties in the
Mhm.
city.
Mhm.
A lot of folks may think that, this location over here is I mean, they get kind of confused,
You're
So
right.
what are some ideas that you have to show that, we do have 2 counties. When one mass piece of information goes out, they may think a little differently than what we're thinking, because we are 2 different. We're under the republic for which it stands, of course, but what are some ideas on how you plan on merging that into one happy marriage? Uh, I'm not saying that there's a disconnect or anything like that, but I've
No.
heard from people
And
that
I get
they
along very
confused.
well with
Yes.
the county chair
Sure.
of Potter County, Dan Rogers. And I've kind of used him as a mentor,
Sure.
if you would, because I questioned if things were being done correctly. And so
Mhm.
I have the manual, of course, and I've read and
Mhm.
read and read what the county chair's responsibilities are and what we're to be doing. But still, it's always nice to call up somebody and
Yeah.
say, "Hey, is this right?" And Dan knows he's been in this for a while. I don't know how many years, but he does know the rules, and
Mhm.
he gives a lot. I mean, his flock notes and his blast systems that he does.
Mhm.
He contacts with over 16,000 people
Mhm.
when he sends those out. So
Sure.
that is a big help.
Yeah.
And that was a big help in the Lincoln Reagan
Right.
when he sent it out. Yeah. So
Would you like to see Randall County implement something like that eventually, someday, if we could support that apparatus?
well, if we could,
Yeah.
yes. Yeah. I wouldn't have a problem at all with that. And Dan would probably give us, because he says he does have it in Randall County and Potter County.
Sure.
And so he would probably be willing to give us what he's got. But in our little team captain thing, I want us to have our own, so that the people know Kent Powell is my
Mhm.
precinct chair, and somebody else is under him as the team captain. The flow just goes within that. It'll come from Kent, but they are so familiar with his name and their team captain because, yeah. And then you meet as a whole thing at the office. And
Mhm.
that's why we've got to get the office cleared out a little bit better and make some professional meeting areas so
Definitely.
that we can bring our precinct in
Yeah.
and let them see what the Republican Party is.
Sure.
And that it's,
Would you be interested in some type of workshops for the
Oh.
community?
absolutely.
Tell us some of your ideas.
Yeah. Well, I haven't got any, just, I'm not the county chair yet.
Yeah. I understand.
Well, that's what I was wondering about you were talking about the platform, and we were having a conversation with the local concern about the unborn and that issue. And it's been brought forward that our platform clearly states that we are a party that promotes the unborn needs to be protected. And the party needs to be representing itself as Republicans if that's our platform. the plank of the platform. Our constituents need to be educated about that. If you believe in the Republican Party, then you believe in the platform. The unborn need to be
And I'll take
protected.
it one step further. If you believe in the Bible,
There you go.
which we
Which
Republicans do,
supposedly do, right?
yes. And if you don't, I don't
Then
think
why
you're
aren't you a Republican then?
If you do not believe in the
That
Bible,
goes back to
then
the
it's the
question
truth.
about censoring.
Yes,
Censoring
you-
goes back.
you
People do
do
not stand
not.
up for the values of the party.
That's right. That's right. And so, yeah, I'll stand on the Bible all the way
That's where we
because
get our
that's the
direction.
only book that we've got that's always the truth. And just like my philosophy right now is work hard and cheerfully as if you're working for the Lord rather than man.
Mhm.
And that's Colossians 3:23.
Yeah.
But that's where I feel we all are, because
Right.
we're all volunteering. We're all
Yeah.
we all want what's the best for our
For our
community
community.
and our country.
Right.
And it starts here with us in our
Yeah.
community, and then it will bleed out into the country
Yeah.
if we can keep the word going. And that's a big point, that we have to get this into the churches. In Colorado, I work directly with the Family Research Center,
Uh-huh.
and they were on Trump's committee and council, and Tony Perkins would be in the meeting with Trump, and every time he would ask Tony, okay, so what's your report? And Tony said, we've found over 3 million Christians that belong to church are not registered to vote, but they think politics are evil.
Yeah.
And so Trump said, well, what are we going to do about that? How are we going to handle that? And so what Tony Perkins has done, and that's a sheet that's in all of your packets that I haven't had the chance to go over with any of you, but I did the other group that came
Mhm.
at the first meeting. So we've got many more, we've got a couple more things to go, but it's in your packet that's in your tote. And it's a comparison. Here's what the Republicans believe, and in the center is the question. And this was from 2020, because it took that many years to get all of this information gathered. Exactly how the Democrats believe in the LGBTQ, that it's freedom. You're free to be what you want to be. You're free to, do. And we believe that God created male and female. And so it shows, and I've given each and every one of you that, and you're welcome to make more copies, which you'll need.
Mhm.
Because when we go door to door, we're not going to sort out, oh, you say you're a Democrat? Do you realize the difference in the platforms that
Between
you're
the two parties,
representing?
yeah.
Mhm.
And we have a little handout here that was done in Washington, D.C., that shows the platform of the Republican and on a lot of different topics, and it's two-sided. And so to me, that's just plain and simple. Let them read it. Let them digest it. We're not going to try to tell them that we're right and they're wrong, but we are going to leave them our business card and the contact that they can call us up, and we'll be glad to go over it with them. But there's no sense of preaching to the choir. There's no sense in using our 2022 that's already voted Republican, that already will, odds are, vote. But the ones that are sitting at home as independents,
The fringe.
that haven't got the hunger yet
Sure.
to get involved, that's who we need to reach out to. And I think it's in the Bible that that's what we're to do too.
Yeah, I would like to be a little more specific with you about the office. A lot of people may not know where our office is or how to get there.
More and more are figuring it out, though.
As a previous educator, and I've been a previous educator, civics is not even taught in our schools anymore. What I'd just like to let you expand on what I believe in, which is we have the Declaration of Independence, we have the Constitution, we have the amendments up on our wall at the office. And I would love for a teacher to bring third and fourth graders down there and let them see those things. Ideas like that. What are your ideas?
Field trip, huh?
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, having been a teacher, I have to have specific goals for taking the children. And I taught elementary only 2 years. I am mainly high school and college professor. So, and I taught junior high too. But in order to create a field trip, I have to have objectives. And the students, when I would take them on a field trip, had to write a reaction to the trip when we got back
Right.
or within the next day or two. And that went into their learning portfolio folder because there has to be a specific reason to take kids out of school
Mhm.
because we just have a certain number of days and certain amount of content that has
Sure.
to be covered. And so to take them out to a field trip, they have to really have, I mean, here again, I would have to, I'd have to apply quite a lot of time to it. I've got a poster that I had in my office that was for school. It was for elementary school teacher. It had all the amendments broken down. The Tuttle twins are an
Oh,
amazing educational
yes.
tool for these kids. And I put that in the silent auction representing the GOP party, our Randall County, because educating our youth, and it actually starts with the parents taking them to church, and the churches have to understand that it's their responsibility to help teach the children and the adults that they are a part of a community and
Right.
government is a part. Without government and laws and rules, it'd be random chaos, which is about what it's starting to look like when they jump into shopping malls and steal all that. That's just appalling to me. But
Yeah.
that's lawlessness, and But if kids understand the 10 Commandments, even that'll take them a long way in life. you know. But I would, I could do it, and but it'd take me a couple of weeks to get it figured out. Different activities in our building as to what kids, because you bring in 50 kids, you got to have something definite. They can't read. They can't read that Constitution the way it is and that fine print and all that stuff. Now, that wouldn't work. And so you'd have to have workstations for them to do stuff, and it'd take a while.
At their level.
Yeah, at their level, yes, absolutely. And that would, I just can't see it happening because of the strictness of taking time out of school.
Sure.
And so I'd really have to have a big content at the age level to do that. And I'm not
Might
so
be
sure
more
I
feasible for someone to go to the classroom and present something rather than get them out in there.
Yeah. And here again, a specific party,
Sure.
that's kind of
Yeah.
not
Well,
going to happen.
One thing we're working on with Conservative Texas and also the hybrid with, our respective precincts, we're just offering it out to the families in the precinct and saying,
Yeah,
hey guys, we have
Absolutely.
this book reading, and we would like to see if you're interested. If so, get a hold of us.
Yep.
Maybe eventually, if every precinct got 20 people each, we could bring them down to headquarters and have a nice evening.
Right.
You know,
And
that'd be fabulous.
then the family, and I
Exactly.
go with that much better,
Yeah.
because then they
Then the
don't think
family's
that we're
involved.
trying to,
Yeah, for sure.
you know, brainwash them any way or shape or thing. And it's the family's duty, really, to
Really
be
is.
involved with their kids.
Right.
And
Yes.
yeah.
And they're the
And-
ones that are going to have the follow up in the evenings. You know, we're
absolutely.
going to have the workshop, and
Yep.
we're not going to see them for another 3 or 4 months. At least the family would be involved, and they could have correspondence at the dinner
That's right.
table. So, if elected, what
Mm-hmm.
are about 2 or 3 things that you would like to accomplish in your first, your first year? Have you set anything out of some goals that you would like to accomplish? Some things that you would like to see?
Probably, but I can't even think right this
No,
second.
you're
I'm
fine.
off on that family thing.
Yeah,
That's so
you're
important to me. But yeah, I want to continue what I've started right now
Okay.
with the team captains
Sure,
and
sure.
the families, and creating small groups out of the
Gotcha, okay.
5,000 that are in our thing. And even if the one team captain group ends up being 100,
Yeah.
that's marvelous, you know.
Yeah.
That if we start out with 10 couples or 10 units, families,
Mhm.
you know, that'll be amazing to
Yeah.
bring those in and show them what the Republican Party really is, and how important voting
Mhm.
is, and how to spread the word, and how to get your sample ballot off the internet, and how, just get them involved. That
Yeah.
you cannot sit back at this day and time with your
Yeah.
head in the sand and say, oh, well, I can't make a difference. Yeah, we
Yeah.
are. We've got to make a difference here.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And these sound like some positive contributions to our current, lack of voter turnout. This would, in turn, increase voter turnout just by. the
That's my
organic-
goal, is
Yeah.
to double at
Sure.
least double. It was 18,229 in 2022 primary. And our goal for this, and doing this 10,000 packets that we're getting out, 10,000 out of 147,000 people
Yeah.
that live in Randall County is a drop in the bucket, but it spreads.
Mhm. Yeah,
my
that's important.
my neighbor, my
The
friend.
seed, you need to get the
Yes.
seed out.
Right,
Sure.
right. We have to make this at this
I
point
got to
in
ask a
time.
question about what you're talking about, the education thing within the party buildings, year or two of getting the computer back on the resource of the media, get the media back into our building so that we can bring the outside world into the building through the internet services. That's not there in the building right now, because I asked the president volunteers, do you actually see what's going on in the world while you're sitting in the office? This media is not sitting. There's no computer assigned to the monitor that was purchased 4 years ago. That monitor is actually producing information off the internet for the volunteers or for anybody that comes to the building. I don't know if you noticed that.
No, I'm not, because I really had never thought of it, because gosh, when they're in there volunteering, I have stuff for them to do.
Yeah.
Well, I was just talking about the visitors that come to the building, and which I'm hoping that will be developed with more active precinct chairs, that we'll get more people wanting to come to the 3219 building and be exposed to whatever the building has to offer it with regards to education. And I think the fact that the exposure now, the 21st Street had the broadcast off the internet on a constant thing. They're available for the people that came into the building. They would hear all this, because other things were being done by the volunteers. But you wouldn't have one volunteer. You'd have 5 volunteers in the office. And then you have the public coming into the office, and then the conversations were going on. It was a little more active environment in the 21st Street building. We haven't developed that energy in the 3219 building. And I'm giving the location, that's Commerce, 3219 Commerce. So people be aware, we know where our building is, come to the building. And you're going to be there about 3 or 4 hours a day. That'd be great. 5 days a week.
maybe 4, but
Maybe 4.
I most of the time it would be 5. But
What's our detail about Saturdays?
I don't have any.
No, I was just wondering about the office being opened on Saturdays because
Well-
they're doing it on the 21st for 2 hours.
Oh, are they?
Potter County's keeping theirs open for 2 hours on Saturdays.
Yeah, and they've
I
got
just
a
thought that was,
paid
but
employee
we got to get the
too. But
volunteers. We can't get one of the few volunteers, right?
you know, we'll have to see about that. You know.
Okay.
Yeah, because I can't speak for it
Oh, I
right
know
now.
that. I was hoping you had that.
I'm not doing 7 days a week at this job. I do have grandkids.
Well, I'm hopeful that the precinct chairs will start mustering out some volunteers out of their individual precincts to assist
Sure.
the few
But
precincts.
you
that
have
we-
to have something to do. You can't
Yeah.
come in and just sit
Yeah.
and feel like you're just there doing your own thing, because it has to, or to me anyway, that's the way I wanted to do it. I wanted to be doing something that was productive for that Republican Party.
Right.
And so, you know, I can, it's, but anyway, yeah. So that's my goal, is to, because we've got a lot that needs to be done right now.
Oh, absolutely.
And, yeah. And so, mhm.
Well, Pat, I really appreciate you taking some time.
Well,
out of your
I
day.
appreciate it for sure.
And I want to give you about 2 to 3 minutes to give your closing statement as for why folks should vote for you as a newly elected Randall County chairwoman.
Okay. Well, I guess I'll go back to that I'm retired and I have some time to give.
Mhm.
I'll go back to that I'm a teacher and that I like to teach. And I share. I am not somebody that I know something, but no need anybody else knowing it. No, I am very much a people person,
Mhm.
and I don't pick favorites or anything. If you are running for an office and you're a Republican and you live in Randall County, we have the responsibility to include your information in our own. They can take a yard sign or whatever they want for a
Mhm.
specific one, but they too need to compare. If they've already gone to some forums and information and they know who they want, they need to know that they can come to the office and pick up, and tell others
Yeah.
who to vote for because they've done the research. I don't have to have this position, but I feel God's kind of putting me into this right now. And but at any rate, I know I can do the job,
Mhm.
and I will give it 100% for the 2 years that this term is. Yeah, and 2 years is just nothing really, but I'll definitely do my share and make sure things are equally amongst all of the precincts, and get as many delegates as we can to go to state and help support everybody a little bit.
And if somebody wants to come down and meet you, they're at headquarters. What days are you there on a regular basis right now? If they want to come down and say, "Hey, I've seen this podcast. I
Okay.
want to meet you."
I don't have a schedule right now. I'll be in again on Monday
Okay.
doing packets and stuff and stuff.
They could call and make maybe an appointment with you. If they want.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yep. I'm total access about that. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's 806-359-1606. Directly at 3219 South Commerce. So y'all get down there and meet Pat,
Right.
schedule an appointment.
Right. And
sit down.
call me on my cell phone.
Yeah. I don't know if you feel comfortable leaving that or not, but
Sure.
if they want to, go ahead if you want.
It's area code 719-469-3198.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you,
And
Pat,
so-
for your time.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you, Pat.
Thanks,
Thank
Pat.
you. Thanks so much.
You're very welcome. And
I hope we didn't get too much noise. He's such a soft speaker. I was wondering if that was your mic has got to be pretty sensitive because I'm barely hearing.